Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sit With Me. This podcast is based off my current series, the Not Fragile series. The exhibition is happening now. The show is called Sit With Me, The Diary of a Free Thinker. So today we're going to be discussing one of the major themes in the work, which is solidarity. I felt that it was very necessary to discuss this because it's about women and community and the impact of society and its views on women and how they are interconnected with how we perceive ourselves and perceive those around us. So this episode, we have a very special guest. She's a mental health practitioner, and we'll be having a conversation with her so that we can understand the inner workings of female friendship, how nuanced it is, how society perceives us. Basically, we want to build trust and a good desire for friendship, and how we can push that idea forward and get people on board on solidarity and how women view each other. Yes. Basically, all the nitty-gritties of friendship, yeah. So welcome, please introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, nice to be here. My name is Martha. I am currently a country director for an organization called MindLeaps, and we work with at-risk children, helping them improve their social-emotional learning using dance.
Yeah, wow.
Thank you so much for introducing solidarity and also for being here on this series. I look forward to sharing my views about your work and about the world and also about women in particular.
Yes. Are you seeing how she's perfect? Okay. I'm excited. Before we can dive deep into solidarity, I understand that internalized patriarchy affects how women view others and themselves. So could we talk about what that is before we dive deep into its inner workings and how women view themselves and others?
Yes. If you notice right from birth, women have internalized the learned helplessness. We are considered as the second other, just seen but not heard, which often affects how we view ourselves but also how we view others. If you notice half the time, when a woman shows up, let it be in politics or other spheres of life, it's us women who always pull them down because we've internalized that it's always men that come first and their views matter more than those of women.
Yeah.
So patriarchy is basically putting men's opinion first in front of all the other people's opinions.
Yes.
So often, even if a woman has a good idea, she often lays back, waits for either the man's validation or approval, or waits for other men that are outside her society to give her go-ahead so that she can voice her opinion.
Wow. Isn't that sad to see that even when patriarchy is meant for the benefit of men, it has affected how women even view each other and the society around them? Like, you would assume that those who are oppressed would not perpetuate the same oppression.
Women are custodians of culture, fortunately or unfortunately. So it's always women that hold on to these beliefs and do not want them to change. I've often seen, it starts from birth. What are the rewards and punishments for a woman? If you see when a mother has given birth to a girl, everyone says, oh, they've given birth to sugar, meaning she will bring bride price and they'll take her. If they've given birth to a boy, it is a sign of inheritance. He will be receiving good things, and he's someone who will carry on the family's name. So it starts from birth, where women are viewed as lesser beings. And unfortunately, it grows. You've seen parents tell boys, it's not okay to cry. You have to be strong. If a woman cries, yes, there is an excuse. It's very okay for her to. If she's soft, it is very okay for her. If the man does what they think a woman should do, he's often castrated or ostracized, and you hear people saying, no, it's not good. You have to be a man. And for us, the society has seemingly laid something that has put a glass where we can walk on. It's okay for a woman to cry. It's okay for a woman not to aim high. It's okay for a woman to stop at motherhood as everything. So the fact that we are the custodians of culture and we keep on re-emphasizing this, making the children learn this right from birth, the cycle continues and continues and continues. And unless we break the cycle, it is going to continue for generations.
That's true. So how can we then overcome these internalized beliefs?
We have to unlearn what we have learned. I know when we say unlearn, it's not easy. It's not a one-day thing. I don't even expect it to happen in the next year or so. But we can start right from birth by giving the children, all genders, the same opportunities.
Yes.
Yes, by giving them the same amount of attention. By showing, it even starts at home with the housework.
True.
Why is it that girls cook and the boys are supposed to play and come back in the evenings?
Yes.
So it starts with those small things that make us unlearn what we have already inherited from birth. That if a boy can do this, so can a girl. If a boy can maybe become an engineer, yes, a girl can equally become a good engineer.
True.
But most of the times, we let our children aim for being mediocres. And for us, especially as mothers, it becomes okay for us. If a girl just gets a diploma, it's
Yes,
okay.
it's okay.
It's okay. After all, her end result is marriage.
Yes.
So, and if we are going to stop that, we have to unlearn our learned helplessness.
Yes.
We have to have an equal footing where we have equal opportunities. Our voices need to be heard. We need to go away from being seen to being heard.
True.
Yes. Our contributions must be recognized.
True.
Women have a lot of unpaid labor. That goes unnoticed. No one pays her. She's at home and someone says, she's a stay-home mother, therefore she doesn't work. But remember, she's up at 6. And she might actually be the last person to go to bed.
Yeah.
But sadly, when we are referring to her in society, we say she's a stay-home mom.
Yes.
She doesn't work.
True.
But who does all that unpaid labor? If we were to attach time to that unpaid labor, how much do you think she would be paid in cash?
True. Yes.
So it's such things that we need to start thinking about.
Yes.
And we need to revolve the way we look at women. Hopefully,
Yes,
we'll get
true.
there.
I love how you said that it's necessary for her to not only be seen, but to be heard. And what's very central for me as I created these works, you can see the boxes have replaced the heads of women, because it was fundamental for me for the audience, as they looked at these works, to hear the voice of the women. When they stand before this painting, they must say, "not fragile." So a conversation even begins in the mind of the viewer right away. Because appearances can be deceiving, but what do you have to offer the world beyond what your body looks like? And I think some of the internalized things look like Eurocentric versions of beauty, you know, telling the woman that, oh, she's pretty, but she's dark-skinned, you know, fighting for positions and opportunities because you know the men are going to get them, so you'd easier to fight with a woman in order to get your place. So I think it's necessary, just like you said, to do the work at youth, at a very young age, to undo those systems, those internalized biases, you know. So thank you for that insight. Maybe we could go on to look at cognitive tools that we can employ so that we can restructure and mitigate these biases. Any particular cognitive tools?
Yes, I think it's important for us as people to, what we often, sorry, can we cut? Or I just continue?
Yes, it's okay. We can cut.
Please cut.
No, it's okay. He's going to cut in edit,
okay.
yeah.
What people don't realize is that the mind is a very powerful tool. And whatever we do, how we react, our emotions all start with our mind.
True.
So we need to start training our mind by replacing those implicit biases that we have to positive, life-changing messages. If it's no, you can't, your mind should be, yes, I can.
True.
If it's, oh, I am not good enough because maybe I don't have a figure like Beyonce, I can't sing, I can't do this, your mind should be able to say, apart from Beyonce, who are the role models that you can look up to?
True.
Yes. I am happy now we are coming up with plus-size models.
Yes.
Their time it was you have to be skinny, but now we have plus-size models. It's those things now that are changing the way we think
True.
about how society views us.
Yes.
But it starts with the mind. You are the person who needs to fight the implicit biases. I know at a young age we are told how to behave, how to think. how to react. It's time for us to say, no, it's not okay. This is how I want to be seen. This is how I want to show up. This is how I want to be heard. And if it starts with you as a mother, it starts with you in your household, then it also goes to you as an individual. What have you learned from childhood that you feel like you want to change?
True.
Because it's us who pass on the cycle. Then it goes to the rest of the community. Are you willing to embrace diversity? Are you willing to look at Charlene as she is and say, yes, I might not understand art, I might not even understand her craft, but I appreciate who she is. Yeah. Yes, we need to think outside the box. The other thing that society has done to us is that we've created many boxes. So we always look at the boxes to fit. I am either beautiful or ugly. I am either fat or small. I am either intelligent or dull. Who said that? Yeah. Who said that? It's our mind that tells us that I have to look like this, I have to behave like this, I have to be accepted by certain people. So we have to internalize that being different is okay.
Yes.
Yes, I might not do this, I might not be that, but I am different and I am very okay with being different.
Yeah. I love that you said that. I think for me, even when I was younger, the fear of getting outside of the box because I wanted to be a part of a community, the need for belonging can keep people in fear and in biases and prejudices that they themselves don't even love, just because their neighbor or the cool person in the group assimilates to that. So thank you for pointing that out. And I think it goes into the next question, where we are discussing how we can differentiate between normal conflicts in friendships and toxic behavior. Yes, how do we know the difference?
The moment you feel you are disrespected, your opinion does not count. You are the lesser being in this relationship. It is already toxic. What narcissistic people make us do is they always believe that we are the ones in the wrong. And even when you hold conversations, all conversations end with, it is, I am sorry. It is you apologizing and not the other person. If communication ceases to be both ways and one-sided, that is already a toxic relationship.
Yes.
Yes, if there is violence, I know many people think it's only intimate partner violence that occurs, but also there is emotional violence. That violence where, I make you feel like you cannot even voice your opinion. True. Like your life depends on me. Like you have to validate whatever I do. That is already a toxic relationship. If someone doesn't give you the space to be you, and you need to depend on them, especially on things that you would have done yourself, please walk away. Because that is already an indication that you are in a place where you are not needed and you are just being used.
Yes. So then what would a healthy conflict then look like?
Where both sides sit, there is a dialogue. There should be a dialogue in every conversation. And in every conflict, there should be compromise.
True.
Yes, we should be able to meet ourselves at 50-50 if we want to solve this. Then also, there should not be a right or wrong party in a relationship. We need to communicate and listen to each other.
Yes.
Most of the times, our communication is based on what I have to pass on to you. We need to learn to listen.
Yes.
Sometimes we might not be able to find the words to tell you what is happening, but what about you taking the time to really ask me if I am okay? We often don't do that. If you smile, if I come here and tell you whatever I want, it's okay. I am done, I am gone. What about you? So, healthy relationship is when two people are willing to compromise. Then two people are willing that even despite the conflict, there is a lot of things that unite us. So, conflict, yes, we've had our conflict, but what am I looking for in Charlene? Charlene has more to offer beyond this conflict. Then also there should always be a resolution mechanism. I know many people love conflicts that are ongoing and no, that doesn't make sense.
Yes. Drama addicts.
Yes, we need to have a point where we say, okay, enough is enough.
Enough, yes.
Where do we go from here?
Yes.
But also, part of being in a healthy relationship is understanding that the other party is different from you. I hear many people struggling in relationships, but even in friends. When I get you as a friend, I expect you to be like me. Then you want to be my friend, you will be my copycat. I need to appreciate your differences. And I need to be willing to put up with your differences. Otherwise, if they cross my boundaries, then it's okay, I can have to just walk away. Otherwise, there are differences we can, they don't affect us.
True.
Normally, yes.
Yes.
I might let me say I don't like wearing trousers and you like trousers. That is not a difference. We can still be with each other.
Yes.
So it is important to know that in a relationship, the other person's opinion accounts as much as your opinion.
That's very true.
Yes.
I always say, whenever I'm talking to people about my work, that we might not be uniform, but we can be unified. Yeah. There was a podcast I watched of Jay Shetty, and his wife was talking about how, I think it was more of an Instagram reel, how whenever they have a fight, he wants to resolve it so quickly, but she wants to continue fighting. And someone in the comment section talked about how he's fighting to resolve, but she's fighting to be heard. And I think, like how you pointed it out, finding the compromise, because there are people who want to end the fight quickly, but how can you know what to end when you have not heard the other person speak their piece, And I think there's always that misinterpretation of peace, that peace is like when everything is silent and there's a calm, yet things could be brewing up underneath that need to be dealt with before we could ever move forward.
Yes, I don't know whether you've heard of woman battered syndrome.
No.
It's where a woman bottles up so much. I know you've seen in the news lately of women killing their husbands or beating their children to death. It's not that those women are murderers or they were born that way or they have anger issues. It's just that they keep on bottling up those small things that we call small. She bottles up. At a time, the lid just blows off. And you can hear someone saying, imagine they were just quarreling over food and she stabbed the husband. It's not the food now, the food issue that has caused this. No. It's because she has been bottling up so much, and you as the other party has not given her an outlet to express herself. What we talked about being seen and not heard. She's in this relationship, but she's being seen. Everyone says, oh, she is the wife to so-and-so. Or she is friends with these people. You've noticed even in the circle of friends, where you see there is that one person who is always in the background. She's never taking place, she's simply watching. Many people might say, oh, she's just comfortable. That is who she is. Try talking to her, you'll be surprised. There are a lot of things that are bottled up inside her that she's just not letting out. Mainly because the other people around her are not giving her the chance to express herself, to say what is really on her heart. So she has decided to keep to herself.
Yeah. Yes. Wow, that's so insightful. I've learned something new. Thank you. So we're going to discuss a bit about, cut that part. So because we have discussed toxic behaviors, I think we need to look at how social dynamics now play out. Sometimes when you feel threatened of exclusion from our societies, we tend to exclude others really quickly. So how would you foster a culture of trust and inclusivity?
One is we must understand that everyone is afraid of rejection. People often isolate themselves because they know they are not being heard enough, seen enough. So she just goes into a zone in her own world where she exists alone and makes up her own rules. But it's important that we embrace diversity. All of us are beautifully and wonderfully made. But the most important thing is that we are all different. Yes. And each of us have something to offer. So when you are willing to embrace diversity, you are willing to participate in inclusiveness. You are willing to know that everyone counts and every voice matters.
That's true.
So one of the things we can do is, one, when we embrace diversity, we also seek to understand the other people. Many of us don't walk a mile in other people's shoes. We even judge them before we know what shoes they are putting on. Like I told you, I work with children and dance. Many of the people, when you say the word dance, everyone shuts down. They don't even know there is dance therapy. Actually, they don't want to hear.
Wow.
When they said dance, everyone says dance. The child is going to get spoiled. The child, I don't think I want the child to associate with dance. You've seen even when we were growing up, anyone who had rastas on the head, no, that one is spoiled. It's just that they are changing the flow. We've seen lawyers now with dreadlocks, and it's very okay.
True.
You understand what I am saying? It's just about embracing diversity, but also walking a mile in the other one's shoes. You get to understand what they are going through. You get to appreciate them for who they are. Most of the times, many of us don't want to look outside our circles. We tend to judge too quickly. If someone is not like you, doesn't resonate with the way you think, doesn't have the same opinion, for me, automatically, that is a no-go zone. That person is bad. It's okay if they're excluded. But these people all have beautiful stories to tell.
That's true.
Working with children has enabled me to see the other side of the world. You see, children will love you when you are you and are quick to tell you. They don't want to be near you when you are not you. There is that compassion that they show, that solidarity when you love them. They want to always give it back the way you give it to them. So we need to also learn to feed others. We want to be fed, we don't want to feed others. Most of the times, the streams that are flowing to us are always kept active. I keep on receiving, I keep on receiving. We haven't practiced giving. We only practice receiving. And that is why many people are excluded. Because I keep on taking. But I've never given back. So because I don't give back, I don't even understand what the other person across the road is going through. Especially now women. We've had corporate class, business class. But there are those single mothers that are struggling, that don't fall into all those classes. How do we classify them? Where do we put them? There are those female-headed households, child-headed households. They are going through a lot. But because these social exclusions, I talked about the boxes, we have labeled everyone. So that also causes people to be excluded, because you wouldn't want to turn up to a function where they've said, we are giving free food to single mothers. That is already stigmatizing.
Yes.
You've given me a label. What about we are giving food to all those who don't have? I'll turn up happily. But when you say single mother, there are those boxes that the community has created that already are causing social exclusion. We were recently in a dialogue where we are saying we should stop calling survivors of gender-based violence victims. Why? They have survived an ordeal and therefore they are living to tell their story. So they are no longer victims. They are survivors. They've overcome.
That's powerful.
Yes. So what about we do a survivor-centered approach? Let's make it about you because you are the one who needs help. Let's not make it about us who are giving help, because that is what is causing the social exclusion. For you to come to my organization, you must fit in this particular box for me to be able to help you. So I am also going to look for categories, and you might find there are people who always fall into the loops because they don't belong anywhere. You might say single mother. I don't know. I am not a single mother. I have a husband who is not helping. So I will not qualify to get.
True.
Yes, I'll not qualify to get your what? Your help. Yes, I am not a survivor of gender-based violence because I don't have physical scars, but I have emotional scars. How are you going to gauge me? How are you going to give me help? So what I'll do is I'll just exclude myself. If anyone thinks of my category, I'll come. If never, I'll stay there. So we need to appreciate diversity and stop putting people inside boxes.
Wow. Just needed to say that. Okay. Back to where we were. So we're going to build on trust and the importance of trust. We want to build on trust and the importance of trust. So I would like for us to discuss healthy boundaries, because I think it's very fundamental for healthy relationships and healthy communities. So in your professional opinion, how can individuals establish and communicate these boundaries effectively?
First of all, who is setting the boundaries? If it's you, an individual, do you know what you really want? Most of the times, the word boundaries has a negative connotation, because boundary says it stops people from getting near you. But boundaries, in my opinion, should be set if we want to thrive, because then I would know that these are the points I should not cross with Charlene. If I want to maintain our friendship, if I want to maintain our same respect, I should not cross these points. The first thing is for you to know who you are and set these boundaries. The other thing I've seen about boundaries is that people find it difficult to set boundaries. You shouldn't be scared. You should actually, it's okay if you add a new boundary every week.
True.
Because guess what? Boundaries are defining you. The boundaries we set define us. Because if we do not set boundaries, then no one will know that I am overstepping your boundary. Anyone here will come and is okay with doing whatever they want. But if there is that set where we've set a boundary and I know I'm not supposed to cross this point, it is beautiful. But then also when you set the boundaries, one, effective communication is key, because we might not know them. But also consistency. Many people say something and they don't mean it, or we see you do that same thing, so we take you for granted. You always hear people saying that a girl's no is a yes. It's because we are not consistent. You said no today under different circumstances. You're also saying yes. Then the other day you are saying no. So we don't know, we think you are playing. But then there should be consistency when you are setting these boundaries. But also, your boundaries should be non-negotiable. That is now the most difficult thing that I've seen. Many of us set boundaries and say, oh, for Charlene, I can relax. For this one, I will not. But for this one, I'll be strict. No, it should be non-negotiable. If you say me as Charlene, this is what I believe in and this is what I stand for. Let all of us across know that Charlene stands for this. That even if 50 people stand here, they would still say the same thing about you. But most of the times, we relax them.
True.
So many people take us for granted. Then also, when you are creating your boundaries, it is important to define relationships. Sometimes it's difficult to create boundaries with your family. Very difficult. If you have sisters, you know what I mean. So each category has a different set of boundaries. The boundaries you set in your marriage are not the same boundaries you set with your family, and not the same boundaries you set with your co-workers. So know the space where you are setting these boundaries. For example, at work, we are all called on to be flexible. So you will not say, for me, Sunday, I don't go out. If your boss says, I need you to do A, B, C, D. But at home, it's okay for everyone to know that Charlene on Sunday will not step out for anything. So you understand, it's about us knowing the space where we are setting these boundaries. And are these boundaries suitable for that space? If they are yes, go ahead and make them. Then also, boundaries are supposed to keep away toxic people. There are a lot of people who want to suck things out of you. So boundaries create a space where they cannot reach you and break you. So it is important that when you are setting these boundaries, one, you know what boundaries you are setting exactly. Two, communicate them effectively. Then also look at the space. Which space am I setting the boundaries, and what is the purpose of the boundaries anyway? Then four, accountability. You are accountable because you are the one who set the boundaries. So you are accountable to us, the ones that you've given the boundaries, but also to yourself. Because boundaries are meant to grow you as a person.
True.
Yes, so you need to understand that before you actually set boundaries.
I love what you said about consistency, because sometimes my fear is that in the next 6 months, my thoughts could change, right? I could grow out of that boundary, maybe because I feel safer enough to trust you. So sometimes I feel like I might be misunderstood if I change and if I grow out of a perspective. But I'm glad that you said that, especially in friendships where people are intentional, or relationships, I think there's always room to know that this is someone's experience, they can grow, they are allowed to change their opinion. They're allowed without there being a punishment for changing. And I think for most people, there's always a fear in female friendships that I will be punished if I have a different opinion from another one. I remember when I went for a talk a while ago, right before the pandemic. It was about self-love. And the ladies in the community were sharing how they want to build community, they want to have friendships, but their fear is that if our friendship should outlast its purpose, or if this friendship should end, I don't know if I can trust this person beyond the friendship with the things that I gave to them. And I think at the end of the day, people fail to be vulnerable because they're trying to protect themselves in case something is to happen in the future, which might never really happen. So how would you go about that?
I also think it's important. Being intentional is very important. Why are me and you friends? That is the most important bit. Then also, why do you give your whatever secret to anyone that you would not want to trust with 10 years from now?
True.
I also think we are the ones that make ourselves vulnerable because we say things in spaces where we are not supposed to say them, and we think the other people owe us their solidarity. That is where it all becomes wrong. You are responsible for what you say. I'm not responsible for repeating it because I might even have a different understanding of what you are saying. So, as we develop these friendships, please know what you are comfortable saying, that even if it's let out, you'll still be comfortable with it. Please don't say things that are going to make you vulnerable, because now that is what is going to lead to the toxic relationship. I am afraid to leave you because I know you have secrets of mine that if you spill them, maybe they'll damage my self-esteem, they'll damage my standing in the community. So I always have to keep with you even if I don't agree with you. Then also many people make a mistake of not knowing the other people and they trust easily. You hear people who are saying, we've been friends for 6 months, we are best friends, and she knows my everything. Now, 6 months is a very short time for me to know who you are. That means I've not invested in the friendship. I've also not studied you enough to trust you. So also, we often want, our expectations in friendships are never adjusted. Many of us have expectations that are beyond what the other person wants to share with us or give us. That is why I said communicate. Yes, if your boundary changes 6 months from now, explain that, yes, the other time I said maybe physical touch is not okay. But now it's okay because I trust you, A, B, C, D. Or we've moved beyond that part. Please communicate. And it's okay for your boundaries to change. I am telling you, it's very okay. Don't even feel ashamed. Communicate it. And to the right people, tell them, yes, now it's okay for me to do this. The other time it wasn't because of A, B, C, D, but now I am ready. And that's very okay. If that person respects you, they'll understand your even reason for changing the boundary. Yes.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, Martha. This was such a fruitful conversation. I loved it that we were able to talk to you and hear your thoughts. Thank you. I know that your community must be blessed because they have you. You are a gem full of insight. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I hope to see you next time.
Thank you so much for hosting me.
Yes. Bye. Bye.